Boom, boom, boom. What's going on? We are back at Reality After Show. We're talking more 99 to beat today, and I'm joined by two people I've been having on constantly, and they're fantastic. We have David A in the house. We have Luigi in the house. How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Wow, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm ready to dive into this and talk about it because there's some stuff that happened that was very interesting in this episode, and I can't wait to hear y'all's thoughts and opinions on it because I definitely have some of my own.
Yes.
So what did y'all think coming into this episode? How are we feeling? We're at the halfway point basically here in the season.
Yeah, I think for me, like realizing that we're halfway through, I'm like, wow, we made it to less than 50 people, right? We're at like 40 something.
I think 48.
Like, yeah, I'm like, I actually have a chance. I was like, we got rid of half of the cast. I'm like, this is crazy. And I never thought that on day one, looking at the competition, right? That was around the room. So for me, I was feeling like, okay, like if we got down to 50, like we can keep going. We can get down to 40, get down to 30, etc. So that's where my mindset was at.
I had a quick moment of like just taking a moment to be proud. Because I feel like that was we all kind of were like, a general goal is it'd be great to hit top 50.
Yep.
So I had a moment of like, okay, I did that. And then the stress came back.
Yes, of course. Because now we're like, all right, we did 50. Like, let's get to like 25.
Well, and you also started to feel the difference in the fact that like the games, there wasn't 99 other people out there. There wasn't a lot. It was like, oh, there's a lot less people that I'm competing against.
I was starting to feel quite lonely in my corner. I was like, left, right, nobody's here.
Me and Storm, for a while now, it's just been us two and then Red.
Yeah, I had nobody. I lost Sandra to my right, Jay Blake to my left, the Lone Ranger in that corner.
You get to the point now where you don't have any breathing room. You know what I mean? It's because you can actually see the board as you're talking about with the red that's there. It's different if you didn't have that circle and it's just the people start to dwindle. But when you see those blank spots, you know it's real.
Yeah, 100%. But even like in the waiting room, right? Or like when we would line up to go into the studio, like less and less. I mean, 100 people lining up versus 48, huge difference.
I mean, in the beginning, in like the waiting room, we were all over the floor, like just, I mean, making things work. It got to a point where everyone had a chair comfortably, or a spot to sit, and it was quiet.
And it was quiet. Oh my God.
It was
always.
It was creepy because also as it went on, we got more tired, and so we would actually take those moments of like downtime and just like sit there, maybe talk a little bit. But it was in the beginning, it was crazy. Everyone was going crazy.
So loud, and I was like, I know I'm old. I was like, but shit, I'm like, this is loud in here. I'm like, my ears hurt.
I can only imagine. But let's dive into the first competition that we have. And this is where you have the net and you have to catch the item into the net. And so this is where we really start to see the physicality of it all ramp up here. How did y'all feel going into this, knowing that it was probably going to be like that? Because people weren't afraid to start bumping people here.
So I have to say, this was hands down my favorite game that I got to play all season. I know. And I'm going to tell you why. So when we first heard the rules, I was like, oh, crap. I'm like, I'm screwed. I said, because I'm small. I'm not very like physical. I'm like, people are going to have like the arm reach that I just don't have. And I'm like, I'm screwed. So I was a little bit like, ew, this is going to be bad. And then as soon as that buzzer went off and I realized that everybody like ran to the middle, once again, I was like, I'm not getting trampled. I'm not getting elbowed in the face. I'm not doing that. And everybody, and there's a picture in the promo, which of course they love to cut me out, but in the one that I'm not cut out, everybody is looking up, right? Naturally, everyone's looking up straight at the sky. Everyone's arms are in the air. I'm literally looking at eye level, and I caught one in like 5 seconds. I was just like, boop, and I walked right off. Meanwhile, everybody else is in the center like a mosh pit, elbowing each other, jumping in the air. I did nothing. I literally I looked at eye level, scooped up the little red butterfly, and I walked off. And it was as easy as that. I don't know what everybody was doing. So for me, it was my favorite game.
Well, first off, it reminded me of that kids game with the
little elephant. They used to blow out the butterflies.
Yes, and I was like, that was the first thing I thought of. So then that did take away the stress of it, and it was kind of like, this is silly. It reminded, like, in the same way that the duck game did for me. Right. It was just like, this is funny. Like, I can't help but like laugh at this.
Yeah, like if I go home in this, I was like, all right.
But I took the approach of I stood in the back, so I could watch everything, and then I would like walk in when I saw there was a space where there really was no one standing because there was people like jumping and things, and I was like, and I'm tall, I'm like average, so like I was like I can do this, and I just eventually walked in, saw one, I joined the group over them because I was like I could see where it actually was, and then I swooped it out from under them, and I was fine.
Yeah, I was just so confused why everybody was just running to the same spot. And I don't know if they show it on TV, but there were 2 different cannons that were shooting them out. But they would shoot out like one at a time.
Yeah.
So the one thing would shoot out, and then everybody would go, and then we'd wait, and then the next one would shoot out.
You would see the mob just circle back.
Yeah, it kind of went like that. I don't know if you can really tell that on the actual show watching, but that's sort of how it went. So
what's crazy to me is that like there's like a shot of like when it's like the final 2, and you see the whole floor, and how many of those yellow like butterflies are covering the floor. I was like, they were shooting butterflies at us.
I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was easy. I had no trouble.
I mean, it was easy. So it was nice.
I do not know why people were getting physical because not necessary, but.
Well, you had the front row seat for it though. So like, because think about it, you had it in 5 seconds. So you go, I'm all set. I'm good.
Yeah, I was like, I'm good. I was like, I don't know what these people are doing, going crazy, but scooped it right up.
You needed that one for your soul.
I really did. Because I was nervous. I'm like, oh, I'm screwed. I'm like, here we go. I'm like,
Luigi was nervous for everything.
I was always a nervous wreck. But and for good reason. I mean, nobody's done any of these games. They're like so ridiculous. So, but I don't know. I enjoyed that one.
It was a fun one just because of the chaos of it all, and I enjoy chaos, and that's really what this game does give you. But also, I'm curious, if you caught the yellow one, did you just have to take it out of it, or it didn't matter?
It didn't matter. As long as you got a red one in your net, naturally yellow ones were going to get in there as well. Yeah. So as long as you had the red one.
And there were so few red ones compared to the number. I mean, the first cannon shot out, and I looked up, and I was like, I don't even see. Like, I was like, oh, this is the game we're playing. You were.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't get mine until like the second or third cannon that shot out. So.
Yeah, like I don't think I had a single yellow one in there because I wouldn't even put my net up. I was like, there's no reason to put the net up with it's just like a horde of yellow butterflies.
Same. I literally saw it fluttering right across my eyes, and I was like, whoop.
Yeah.
So
that's the way it works sometimes. It ends up right in the palm of your hand, and that's what we've seen throughout this entire game. It just depends on the game.
Yep.
But it made me sad. Oh, I was just gonna throw in there real quick. It made me sad to see Lance and Marsha as like the 2 parents who both lost their kids in the last episode. I was like,
was tough. We were like, what are the odds of that?
All of us, everyone was like, this is not fun.
I know.
No, because who do you root for in that case? It's so difficult. You can't. Yeah,
it's like what can you do?
Yeah.
Because they both seem delightful.
A lot of these games are luck. It is. So.
It definitely is. But let's talk about the balloon transfer one, because I'm curious with this. Some people struggled to blow up the balloon, I felt.
And I don't know why, and I'm a little confused by it. I also saw it on TV because, again, when I'm in the zone, I have tunnel vision. I'm not paying attention to anybody else's strategy. So I'm really seeing it for the first time on TV. I was confused why people were blowing it up before putting it in the cup.
That did not make sense to me. I don't know.
Like they were blowing it in the air and then going down to the cup,
which means it doesn't form to the cup.
Exactly. So you put the balloon in the cup, you blow up the balloon like you would normally blow up a balloon. It would expand in the cup, and once you felt that tension, you stopped. And then you literally just walked across and placed the cup down. I did that one pretty quick as well. I don't know. I had no issues with that one.
What's funny about that one is that one I was scared of. Because I've never been able to blow up balloons. Like I'm the person that like my friend, they will blow it up and then they'll hand it to me to tie them. Like I just can't. I've never been able to do it. I don't know.
So maybe those people that struggled had that same issue. That's the only thing I can think of.
I was petrified, and then it took me a little second to I mean, I was like, I've never like put that much air into something in my entire life because I was scared, so I just like overshot it. But at first, I wasn't getting it, and then I figured out kind of where I needed to land with that.
I did the first one and I realized like it stuck. I was like, okay, I'm like done. I'm like, very quick across, drop it and keep going. So,
and I also thought it was interesting that a lot of people seem to struggle with the sitting it down and not letting the balloon. My balloon never fell in the cup.
Same.
So I was like, a lot of people were doing that too, right? And I was like, interesting.
I don't know. I didn't have any issues with that one. I was fine.
Once I picked it up, I was good.
Right, but also too, once you get the concept of how to do this game, it's pretty easy moving forward. But yes, I'm watching and I go, that made absolutely no sense blowing it up beforehand and trying to put it in because that's not the way to do it. And for me, I've done this type of challenge before, but I've had to do it where you have to build a pyramid with it.
Oh,
so when I saw this, I said, "Oh, this would have been right up my alley," because I've done it in online games where you have to do an entire stack of a pyramid and then be done with it. So when I saw it was just laying on the table, I couldn't imagine some people having to do pyramids. It would not have worked.
No, we would have been there for a very long time. I feel like this one went pretty quick.
We've seen enough balance and how we do at those balance ones, so we have to do it with our mouths.
We don't do well at those.
Yeah, no, I think I think that this one was thrown in there as a quicker one so that we can move things along. That's what I thought about some of the games. I was like, this is here because they know it's going to be fast and they know it's
Butterfly was pretty fast. This one
a lot of the ones this episode were fast.
Yeah, they were.
The sailboat was
only because of the
longest.
Yeah.
By far the longest. Actually, all of the rest of them were pretty
quick.
Yeah.
Which you need those because, correct me if I'm wrong, one episode that we had, there was some hour-plus long games back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think the next episode has some long ones. I think we're getting into I think this was the last of like really short, snippy ones.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. But as you said, we definitely need some of those because you can't constantly have hour after hour. Because
we were like exhausted for so many.
It's brutal on our bodies too.
Well, too, you're prepping for a long time as well. So you're getting read the game, then you have to get into the game, and then the game finally begins. By that time, it's already elapsed, I'm guessing, depending on the game, over an hour.
Oh, yeah, easily. Yep. And it's a lot of just waiting around. And that's why we always look like nervous and we always look like we're paranoid and like scared because there's a lot. It's the waiting game.
And you just keep creating new ideas and then you start to freak out because you're like, wait, which of my ideas is the best? And it just is bad for the brain.
Yeah, you're just overthinking every little thing. So
I do want to throw out there on the balloon game though, because we talked about the people not being able to blow them up. I'm gonna vouch for Sean real quick here and say he bit his lip at the beginning of that game. And it was
he was literally like bleeding, like it was bad.
And so that's why he like couldn't blow up the balloons because his lip was like bleeding.
Yeah, he said there was like, I remember he said there was like saliva and blood like in
you
the
could
top,
see
and
there was a stain on his shirt.
Yeah,
I was watching, there was like a little blood stain on his shirt and I was like,
bad.
Yeah.
That's a rough way to start. That's so tough.
Yep.
Can I ask a question though? Because the hosts, prior to the games, they try and pick out who they think is going to do well. And a lot of the time, they're the people that don't do well.
I think those are filmed after the fact.
Okay. I just wanted to ask that because most of the time, they're the ones at the bottom.
If you notice, those are the shots that are just them and you don't really see us in the background of them.
They must have filmed that after the fact.
They might go, okay, who was in the bottom two? Melissa and Sean, let's throw, because also they have shots of all of us like they're just standing there filming you, even if you're just talking to someone, and we see that. So I think
cameras are everywhere.
Yeah, they figure out who was that bottom 2 or 3, and then that's when they're like, okay, hey Ken and Aaron, that's what I think.
So I had somebody recently say to me, and I watch so much reality TV that I'm like, yeah, I get it because it makes sense. But they're like, we already know who's going to be in the bottom of each game because they highlight them. And I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong. So
most of the time, I would say
there's
a couple. There's a couple ones where it's a surprise who's not going.
True.
Yeah, they started to throw in some random ones. Like they like random little interviews of people beforehand. That I'm like I thought that with the Dakota before the hammer and nail one, they shouted him out, and I was like, he was not even.
I know, and then they didn't really show him playing the actual game.
But that's what I'm saying. They've started to include more of other people rather than just the bottom.
It's easier too because you're down to less people. So at the beginning, they're trying to probably highlight people. So we knew in episode 1, I'm going, Janice is in trouble. Just because why are we showing these specific people? Like we can kind of tell. But what I'm hoping is moving forward, because there are less people, that we're getting kind of the confessionals from different people either talking about the game and making it a little less obvious, like who could potentially be going.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. But let's dive into the piggy bank one. This is the challenge I absolutely would have hated. I saw it on TV and I said, nope, would not be for me.
I didn't like this one.
But what's funny is Luigi is the only person out of our like immediate friend group that did it before like bottom 10. Me, Tommy, Danny, and Julian all. Like,
I remember I got to the safe zone, and I'm normally like usually like middle to like bottom half, but never like end. And I remember getting to the safe zone, and I'm looking for everybody, and I'm like, where are my friends? And then I look out into the arena, and I'm
all
like,
of us.
Oh my god! I'm like, they're all out there. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, how did I get it out before any of them? I had no strategy. I was just shaking the damn thing, wiggling the paperclip around, and it eventually just fell out. There was no strategy. I had no idea how to do it.
That's crazy. I was playing the opposite game of that, and I was going 100% strategic with it.
No, just shaking it, looking. No idea.
Well, I had the right idea going into it, but my placement was a little off. Because I remember I turned around because I'm in the back row, and Carlene is standing there. And Carlene, what do I do? And she just sits there and coaches me through it. And she was like, you're doing it right. You just need to scoot because what you have to do is you have to put the middle of the coin like over the hole and then push up on the side so that it starts to stand up. And you tilt the piggy bank a little bit and it'll fall through the hole. Wow. I started it with it on the edge.
But in theory, that sounds right. I tried too. It just didn't work. So I just started shaking.
I mean, once she told me to move it to the center of it, I got it right away. But it took a hot sec.
Yeah, and then I think eventually Tommy got it out.
We got it at the same time, which is why he runs and jumps into my arms. And I remember we both stood up. We were both like ref, and that's when I was like, "Oh my, thank God! At least two of us got out, so it's not all."
I know, but then Danny and Julian, I was like, "No."
Well, and then y'all are sitting there. That's stressful for y'all because those are your two very good friends, and then I hear Tommy hears "Let's go, y'all" or something like that because you can't you have to, you're cheering for them both, but you know one of them is definitely going. And it's
remember turning and looking at Tommy, and he was just bawling his eyes out.
Yes.
No, we didn't say names because we couldn't.
Yeah, how do you cheer for either one? We love both of them so much, so it's like we just knew we were losing somebody that we cared about, and it sucked.
And it's so close. I'll say it was good for TV how close they were in the like actual their placements because it looked so close and then like back to back.
I know.
Well, because you even hear Julian saying too that he can kind of see Danny, but not fully because trying to pay such close attention to getting it out himself.
I know.
Which is funny because Danny didn't know who it was.
Yeah, she had no idea it was Julian until she finished, and then she looked, and then that's when you see her like break down. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Because you're so focused. Of course you're not going to turn around. There's no time to be able to do that.
Yeah. No.
I know.
That one was harder than it looked, I thought. I thought it was going to be much simpler.
Same, and it would not come out. Like, I'm like, I don't even know what I was doing here. It just, I kept poking around and eventually fell. But yeah, I agree. It wasn't as easy as it looked.
No, not at all. I would have panicked in this one. This is one where you have to have so much patience. And this is a frustrating game.
Very frustrating.
You get frustrated easily.
I think at one point you see Tommy take the piggy bank and you're just like, shake it. It's like shaking it, which I thought was hilarious. But that's how it felt. It was really frustrating. So
what's interesting to me is that like they showed David R getting shaky hands. And this was not one that I like.
No.
It was a shaky hands one. It just was.
Same.
Yeah, but I was like, this is an interesting one to get shaky hands on.
Yeah, I'm usually very shaky, and I was fine for.
Yeah, it wasn't one that like. I mean, I was getting frustrated, but I wasn't like shaking or. No. I never actually even shook the. Well, maybe I did.
Well, I think also as soon as you start hearing everybody being safe, or you hear the coins hitting the ground.
The coins hitting the ground was horrible,
and you're like, oh crap! You're like, come on, come out. I think at one point I was like staring at it so much that my contacts got like dry and my eyes were like blurry, but I heard the sound that it fell out and hit the floor, and I was like, wait, I'm like, where is it? So
I preferred hearing people say ref than there was something about the coins hitting the floor
I know.
That was really scary. Like it just like because it was almost quiet and then you just hear a ding and you were like and it was bad.
And then you know one other person's done, and so then the panic really comes in.
And there was a lot of like ding, 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 and you're like,
ding, and you're like, I'm not getting anywhere with this paperclip. You're sitting there, like,
I know. I'm like, this
paperclip is not even helping. Where's my ding? nowhere to be found.
Where's my ding? I love it. Let's talk about the boat challenge. This is another challenge where I would have not liked it whatsoever, just because if it is getting stuck, the frustration comes right in and the panic definitely comes in as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us have ever used a fan to like move a little sailboat. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like, in theory, it looks like it's probably really easy, but I know for me, I got mine down the canal like pretty quickly, like in that first wave, and then it got stuck in the middle. And I remember panicking, and I remember looking at my team, and they were like yelling at me, like, look at me. They're like, just focus and like use this technique and use that technique. So I tried a couple of different things, and it eventually got through, but definitely frustrating.
What's interesting is, now that I think about it, I don't remember seeing the team that lost in the edit. They probably did do this, but in the edit, they didn't show it. Anytime we got stuck, we would waft it back a little bit because it would straighten out every time we did that. Like we would send it back a little bit, and they just kept trying to push it forward with the wind.
I remember going like when mine got stuck, like because I was right-handed, I was kind of on the right side of it, and then I remember like running around to the other side to see if I could like move it a little bit.
Yeah.
And that worked. So
I would send it back a little bit because if it would just strain itself out. That's what we started doing. What I also think is interesting though is this is one of those games that there's not one way to waft the fan.
Oh yeah, no.
You would watch your teammate do it, and they would kill it on their go, and then you would try exactly what they did, and yours would not move at all.
Yeah, I saw somebody do it like where they were kind of like from the bottom getting like wind, like they were going like this, and that was moving it. For me, I was just doing it like a normal fan. So I think everybody's technique was a little bit different. Some things worked, some didn't. And again, I also think this came down to luck a little bit.
It's one that I'm proud to have gotten through. Like, it was one of those moments of like, okay, this was a hard one.
My team finished first. Our Heat killed it. We were very excited for that. So definitely no complaints there. We did well. So
and my team, obviously, we had Pastor Pete, who is great at keeping people calm. I mean, you hear it. They show him consistently in that game. Like, he's on a knee, and he is just whoever is going out there. You hear him so supportive of that person, and he doesn't stop engaging with you, which was so nice.
I think having a supportive team is also really encouraging because I've been on teams where people are a little bit like manic and crazy, and I don't do well with that. Like, I need calm. And I know for me, for the fans, everybody on my team was encouraging, calm, cool, collected, like, you know what I mean? And that for me works. So
I think if I'm firm believer that if you look at every team game that the team has lost so far, it's been the team that freaked out.
Yep.
Like there's some sort of panic that sets in, and that's when you lose.
100%. It's about staying calm. You have to work through whatever hurdle is thrown at you in that moment, and you cannot panic. The second you start to panic, or you're like, oh, we're done, we lost, you're going to lose.
Well, and if you do that while your team is still playing, they can feel that. They can feel the energy, and it changes the entire dynamic and motivation in the room.
Oh, yes.
We've even seen it in the duo ones too, with people going back and forth with one another, and they end up being the ones eliminated as well. So not even the team challenges, also the duo ones.
Yeah. A lot of the game is also mental, right? And just staying in a positive like mind frame. So the second you put doubt in your brain that you're not going to finish or you're not going to be able to do it, you're not. And I think that's what we see a lot in these teams that go home.
Right. And you also kind of have to know the people on your team a little bit as well, because some people shut down if they're getting constantly yelled at or screamed at. They need the encouragement. That's where you have to be a good teammate there. If you are constantly screaming at somebody, that's going to definitely make it worse. Even if you don't mean it, the words of encouragement are still there, and that can almost help someone reset themselves, or maybe just take a pause and just center yourself for a moment, because it does get stressful. I mean, people forget you are playing for a lot of money. Like $1 million is not chump change here, folks. And that's why I believe people just go completely chaotic and off the walls, because they're seeing it slowly slip out of their hands.
Yeah. I think you also have to be adaptable, right? Because when you're put on teams with people that you have never even spoken to or worked with before, you don't know what encourages them. You don't know what works for them. I know for me, when I struggled and my boat got stuck, I know my team saw the panic in my face. And I remember clear as day, and they didn't show it, unfortunately, because that's what Fox loves to do. But Hadia yelled at me, and she literally looked at me, but like, it was in a way that like I needed. It was like, look at me. And she was like, use the fan like this. And I looked at her because like, I mean, the focus in her eyes was so strong that I was like, she kind of scared me. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I don't want to like disappoint her. And it lit a fire under my ass. And I was eventually able to get, you know, the boat down the rest of the canal. So I think being adaptable and knowing what works for the people on your team is important as well.
And I think saying that to your team is amazing. Like Jen was a little bit upset after that first run through with the boats because it was not the easiest for her on our team. And she came back to us like a little bit freaked out. She kept being like, guys, help me. What do I do? And we were like, girl, you're good. And then we were like, what do you need from us?
Yeah.
And she's
important.
Very good at like actually telling you what she needs instead of being like, no, I don't need anything. Like she's really honest and open about that. So she told us and we were able to do that. And then our team kind of flew through that final heat.
Yeah, you guys did well.
And I was glad that I got my little moment of going fast with that boat.
Yes, that was good.
So. Definitely was. If you had a clean run in this, in the sense of from start to all the way of docking the boat, how quickly could it go down that?
Quick. Like seconds. Like a minute, not even.
I disagree.
Down the canal, like in one, if you got it one straight.
But I don't think anyone did.
Oh, no, because it got stuck for everybody.
I think everyone took at least a minute. But most people took more than that, especially on the first heat. The final heat was actually probably the fastest, I think, just because at that point, most people had figured out kind of their individual strategy that they needed. Whereas the first heat, that's where you're figuring it out. So most people took a decent sec that first heat.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the third heat, and like we finished pretty quick. So like the other two were kind of going at it.
You say that as someone who played it. When we were waiting for you, it did not feel quick.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things that whenever you're playing, you don't know. And then when you're sitting and waiting, my team was first heat, so we had to sit.
That was because the last two teams took forever in our heat.
We were like, oh my God. It was painful.
One was Michelle and May's team, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That was a tough one. It was a tough one to watch too, because you just see people's faces and just having to stand there and you can't do anything.
And you could feel the emotion through the screen, good and bad on that one. Yeah. I mean, that shot of Michelle staring while people are like hugging, and it's just like, it looks like she's lost all light. I was like, oh.
I know. It was very hard to watch for sure. Yeah. But I want to talk about this next one because I liked this one. The gloves, the nail, and hanging the photo up. I thought it was a good one. I think they did an awesome job coming up with this challenge because very unique, very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely creative. Visually, it looked cool, like in the studio. I was definitely nervous for it because I'm not one to use a hammer or nail or hang anything up in my apartment or home. So I was like, oh, I'm screwed here. I said, and let alone put on boxing gloves, which I've never put on in my life. But I did it really quickly. Yeah. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, how the hell did this happen? So yeah, I actually really liked that one. I was proud of myself on that.
It was one of the few that we did that like genuinely no one had an advantage. Like no one could be like, oh, I've practiced this at before. Like some of the other ones are simple enough that people have played them in LRGs. Like for example, like this one, everyone was like, I don't even know. They described it to us, and all of us kind of were like, I don't even know how to picture this until I see what I'm working with.
And then even when we put the gloves on, I remember being like, what am I supposed to do with these things? Because there's no movement.
No,
right.
And I remember asking them, I was like, do you have like different size gloves? They're like, no, it's like one person fits all, whatever. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't even think my fingers reached like the part where it bends. And I was like, what do I do with this? So it was difficult in a sense of like figuring out a strategy. I kept hearing people say like, oh, I'm going to put the nail like in my mouth. And I'm like, and you saw that on TV, like a lot of people use their mouth. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm like, that's not for me. And I remember there was like a little, do you remember, David, between the thumb and the fingers, there was like a
tiny like a little hole, like
an elastic like band. It was like that big, and I remember I slid the hammer into that. That way, the hammer would sit in the glove.
That's right.
And then all I did was put the nail. I laid it flat on top of the glove like this, and I brought it to the wall, and then I literally just gently tapped it so that it would stay. And then as soon as it stayed, I went crazy on it so that it was like sturdy, and then I hung the picture up. And I was like,
I used my mouth, but I used my mouth to put the hammer in that hole.
Like, I kind of just like scooped it. I scooped it.
And then I did the same thing with the nail in the other hole on the other side.
Interesting.
So I had both the nail and the hammer in like the two glove holes, and I used my mouth to get them in there. And then
I just like laid it. I rolled it on, and I gently walked to the wall, very calm, and then I was able to get it.
Well, I also
didn't show it because it was a good one.
I also quickly realized that I'm actually glad my hands are smaller for that, because I could, there was kind of a mesh part on the glove.
I don't remember.
The black part was kind of like meshier.
Okay.
I could feel the nail through that with my fingers. So I was almost able to like utilize my hands through the glove, not
interesting. I felt like I couldn't move them. They were like just like frozen.
My hands just sweat so much that they just like are flop around, and I was like, I was like, I'm gonna use this to my advantage, that I can feel the nail through the fabric of the glove.
But yeah, everybody using their mouth was wild to me. I was like, you guys are brave.
Yeah,
because you don't know what those nails are going, where they've been. But listen,
when they were on the floor and people were picking them up with their mouth, I'm like,
you're telling me you would not have picked it up off the floor with your mouth?
I mean, if I had to, probably.
That's what I'm saying. When the money comes in,
I know.
When it all goes out the window. We're taking the nail off the floor with our mouth. It doesn't.
That was never my first instinct, was to use my mouth. I don't know.
It was not my first instinct. Well, okay, I had the thought of doing what a lot of people did, which was like just put it into the like cork with our mouths. But I thought that we had to use the hammer to put it in.
So I was like, just shoved it in with their mouth, like into the.
Yes.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Okay.
The people that finished like faster than we did, the only reason they did is because.
Okay, so now that makes more sense to me. I see.
And I thought about that, but I was nervous that, and granted, they never said we couldn't, but I was like, I feel like I have to use the hammer. So they didn't even use the hammer at all.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Okay.
They just like put it in their mouth and stuck it in.
That's good strategy.
No, it's
that is good. Actually. That never crossed my mind. So
I was too nervous. It was the first thing I thought of, actually, but I was too nervous that
I would have never thought that it would have stayed. Like, I thought you had to physically like give it a little.
Well, once I saw what the material was, I was like, this will definitely stay.
Interesting.
I don't want to say it was styrofoam, but it wasn't anything crazy.
No, it wasn't styrofoam, but it wasn't. Yeah, that's true. It wasn't like. I don't know.
Yeah, but I thought that, and I was like, should I? No, I'll use the hammer because I feel like I have to. And if I would have lost because I used the hammer, I would have.
I rolled that nail onto my glove at the top of the glove, and I walked over. And
is that what Gianna did? But hers fell. Like, they showed.
No, you had to be very, very careful. Like it was teeter-tottering as well, but I made sure like I took a breath. I was like, just slowly tap it. Yeah. As soon as you get a little bit in, it'll stay, and it did. So it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, and then picking up the picture was easy.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That part,
it had the hook on the back, so you literally just like laid it on top.
Yeah, you just had to awkwardly grab it in your hands, but it was easy to just finagle and sit on the nail.
So, but I like that. Visually, it was cool. I love that they had a picture of Ken and Erin in the little frame. I thought that was cute.
That one was a cool one to walk into and see like the big colorful walls. Yep. It was like, ooh.
Yeah, we were like, what are we doing here?
No desks this time.
I know. So it was fun.
Yeah.
That's why I like this one, because there were so many different elements. There's different strategies that you can utilize. And visually, as you said, it looked neat. Yes. It was something different. It was one I was not expecting to ever see, because someone was very creative when they came up with this one. There's other games that we see, okay, anyone could come up with this at home, but this is one where boxing gloves, photo, hammer, nails. Okay, let's run it.
Let's do it. Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
And I would not be surprised if we saw this one used in other things now.
And I will say, this was another one that actually went pretty quickly. Like, people were getting them up like very fast.
I was gonna say it almost feels. Well, I guess the balloon and the piggy bank probably took the same time in my brain, and those didn't take that long. I mean, the sailboat took drastically longer than everything else.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like not even close.
Yeah, everything else was pretty it was a pretty quick one.
Which is weird for us. We weren't used to that.
No, and I thought the boxing glove one was gonna take longer.
We all did. Yeah, we were all shocked.
Ended up being like really fast, and I was like, oh wow.
We all thought it was gonna be a game of you keep picking up this nail because you can't do it. You keep trying, it's gonna keep falling. No, once you kind of got it near the cork, it would just stick. And you were like, great. Which I say that you see Jen and Nikki both consistently try to put it in, it does not stay.
I know, and I wonder if it's because they tried so many times in the same spot that it wouldn't hold.
I thought the exact same, because their spots looked destroyed.
Like tore up, yes.
Yeah.
So
it was definitely a fun one. But do y'all have anything else you want to add about the episode that we didn't see?
I mean, they didn't show me in the episode at all, but whatever.
Your time is coming.
I know. Whatever. I made it another week, whether you saw it or not.
I don't think there's anything like extra special about this one behind the scenes that didn't get shown, really.
Yeah, no, it was pretty straightforward with everything that they showed.
The games were straightforward. Like there wasn't like any. Yeah,
it's getting tougher and tougher each week because you're saying bye to people that you've built bonds with like over time, so it gets really, really rough. And as we see like the team games, like it's rough.
I will say I do think that the edit is getting a little more heated each week.
Well, you have to remember we're getting closer and closer to that prize.
They're showing
emotions are high.
Showing some of them. They're using some sound bites that are more aggressive. They're choosing to make it more cutthroat, which I think is interesting. It makes me a little bit nervous for how the rest of this is gonna play out, but I'm excited.
Stay tuned.
We don't have an episode this week.
I know.
It's sad.
That is rough because you're used to the consistency of it.
And now we gotta wait a little bit.
Now you have to wait a little bit. They do that sometimes with shows because they're trying to keep it going a bit longer on air.
Yeah. Well, and I noticed that Fox specifically has been doing this with all of their reality game shows recently. There's usually 2 skip weeks.
What's I know they showed the preview for the next episode. What's coming up? I don't recall.
I think every game was shown in the preview, so I feel safe in saying the games that it is.
It was or was not?
They were shown.
They were shown, yeah. I know. So it was. Yeah. What was it? It was
It was like the Spotlight musical Spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
The tube with the bubble wrap.
Tube and the bubble wrap.
The team maze game.
Oh, with the ball.
Yeah.
Ball.
The House of Cards.
House of Cards, yes.
Oh, that's going to be one to watch, I think.
I think that's going to be an exciting one to watch, yeah.
Yeah, and then what's the last one?
I don't know.
Oh, the spinning.
Oh, the rope, the duo rope.
Yes, I love this episode.
Oh, that's going to be something to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, the duo rope.
I was trying to think. They showed all of those clips, so I'm like, we're not giving it. They're all.
No, all those clips were shown. Yeah. I always forget which games. Okay.
I have a notes list on my phone.
I know.
So I'd make sure. Yeah, Luigi would text me, be like, "What is it this week?"
I'm like, "What is it this week?" I'm like, "I don't remember."
No, this week's or next week's, I guess.
I think it'll be more exciting than this past episode.
Yeah.
I'll be ready to talk about it. Y'all will be coming back on because I'm interested to get y'all's takes on it. Anything you want to plug before we wrap up?
No, just keep watching. We put our heart and soul into these games, whether we're shown or not. So, keep tuning in.
Yeah, the next episode is November 5th.
November 5th.
The day of the next episode, yes.
Catch us on episode 6.
Yes, top 39.
Top 39. And that's a big thing to accomplish, especially because you started with 100 people. You're getting down to the end game. It's going to be exciting. It's real. Everything's popping at this point. The chaos is there. It's fantastic.
Love it.
Yeah. It's fun. I'm excited.
Me too.
Well, we'll be ready. We'll be back talking about episode number 6 when it does air. But in the meantime, check out everything we have going on the Reality After Show. I have many more 99 to beat interviews, chats about episodes. And with that, everyone, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.